Everyone is talking about the new endgame overhaul that PoE 2 is getting in 0.5, but Runes of Aldur, the new league mechanic, is getting completely overshadowed. This league mechanic is bringing over 100 new runes, new Kalguuran skills, unique reforging and upgrading, Runic Ward, and even a big connection with Expedition. So let's go through everything we know so far and why this league mechanic will matter way more than people realize. The league starts early on in the campaign in Clearfell when you meet the blacksmith NPC Farrow. Farrow introduces you to the Ezomyte Remnants, which is the core mechanic of the league that you have to interact with. The Ezomyte Remnants work in a way that you get a crafting menu. You choose which powers the monster should have. There will be some predefined that you cannot choose runes, and then you choose the runes you want to put in, which will determine the power of the enemies. That could be modifiers like increased cold damage, for example. Maybe if you're running CI, so you're immune to chaos damage, and there's a modifier that's increased chaos damage, that will be really beneficial for you. It will also determine which rewards you will be getting. So a lot of the time you will probably end up picking whatever gives you the reward you want, more so than the difficulty they give you, but that is entirely up to you to decide. And this can go anywhere from the 2 runes we see early on in the campaign up towards at least 8 runes later on, which will make the fights extremely difficult but also extremely rewarding. As you explore more around in the campaign, you will unlock more runic magic. That could be, for example, in Ogum, you will get the rune forging bench, which teaches you about Runic Ward. In the jungle, Act 3, you will be learning about the Mystic Refugee, which lets you reforge uniques. In King's March in Act 4, you will learn about how Expedition ties into this league mechanic, as they have a special connection. And how that works is that if you know what an expedition is, that is you place explosives around a expedition area, and then they will spawn monsters that you have to fight, and then there's chests you also open, and the monsters and the chest will give you rewards. Now there will also be these Ezomyte Remnants there that you can put into your explosion chains. You have to choose which runes they are going to have, which spawns the difficulty of the monsters. One of these runes will be highlighted, which means that it carries on into the next explosion in your chain as well, and then you might have 2 mods in the next one that is highlighted, and then it goes on and on and on, and the monsters will just get more difficult, more difficult, more difficult. But that is up to you to decide what you want to include in your explosion chain or not. So you are in power here to choose how difficult and how rewarding you want these expeditions to be as well. And that is the whole theme of this league mechanic, is that you are in power of choosing the difficulty within boundaries, and then you also get to choose what reward you want. However, if you do see a divine orb in the crafting menu, you can't choose what gives you that divine orb. You have to defeat whatever combination of runes are on that line, which gives that reward. You do also not have to remember any of these crafting patterns. The game will remember that for you. So whenever you open these Ezomyte Remnants, you will see all available crafting options that you have unlocked. In this league mechanic, there's also more currencies. You have Verisium that will be used to power the Runic Ward mechanic. You will also find alloys, which are crafting material. They actually work exactly the same way as perfect essences, so if you know what that is, you will be familiar with these. However, they have unique modifiers to themselves that other crafting material do not have. Working as an essence means is that on a rare item, it will remove a random modifier, and then it will put on whatever modifier it says that it will put on. As with essences though, the items probably have to follow the rules of the game, so if you are putting on a suffix, you probably will be forced to remove a suffix if the item is filled with modifications, etc. But that is more advanced crafting that we're not going to go deeper into in this video. There's also 5 unique new bosses, including a new pinnacle boss. So there'll be lots of boss encounters to do with this league mechanic, which will give you new uniques and new rewards as well. It wasn't explained much what this will be, so we're going to have to wait and see about that, but they did tease some uniques as well here. I have been talking about Runic Ward a few times. Let's look at what that is. Runic Ward is a crafting option you can put on all armors in the game, which will make it so that they get a Runic Ward stat on them. It can go on rare items and even unique items. It varies how they will affect the item. They showed that one item just got Runic Ward for free, so it's just a good thing to do, while another item lost its armor to get a lot of Runic Ward. So then obviously you have to choose, do you want the armor or the Runic Ward? You will not be able to know before you open the crafting menu and put in the item, and then you can hover over the output to see what the item will become. So you will know before you press the button what will happen to your item, so that you don't accidentally end up bricking it, unless you just press craft without looking, of course. Runic Ward also has two secondary effects. One is that it will act as your secondary life pool. If you have 1,000 life and 500 Runic Ward, but then you get hit for 1,100, you will be spending all of your life and 100 of your Runic Ward, so you will be surviving with 400 Runic Ward left. The other effect it has is that if you're using any of the new Kalguuran skills, they will cost exclusively Runic Ward. And they also have 0 attribute requirements and are not locked to any weapons, so anyone can use them. There's also over 100 new runes, which has a lot of different mechanics. That could be anything from turning one of your rune slots on a piece into a jewel slot suddenly. There's so many new runes to look into, and that could alter how your build functions, and that could create new builds and new archetypes for this expansion. You're also going to be able to upgrade many low-level uniques. So if you have found a low-level unique that you thought looked really cool, but its base damage was just too low, maybe that is one of the uniques you now can upgrade up to a higher base level, which will just give it more raw power, and maybe there are some of these low-level uniques that could be build defining. So if you have a really cool low-level unique in mind, that might be worth remembering when you look at this mechanic. You can also reforge uniques. They even tease that some uniques will have multiple different outcomes. We don't know much about what these outcomes will be, and there is 25 new Kalguuran skills. That is anything from a support gem changing how your spell shoots out, or it could be a completely new skill that combos with other skills. For example, Frost Flame Nova that they teased, which means if you put it on burning enemies, they start freezing as well as burning. So that is this league mechanic. There's so much in this league mechanic that I felt it was important to shed some light on that. We are getting way more than just the endgame overhaul as well, even though that is massive as well. So let's go into what I think about this league mechanic. I think it's really cool that this league mechanic is adding so many new things that could shake up the metagame, because they haven't talked about many balance changes so far. So if there's not many balance changes coming, the metagame would be really stale. However, all of these things we covered in the video could shift the metagame, create new builds, etc. My problem with this league mechanic is that, did we really need 100+ new runes? I actually felt like the game had too many runes already, so I'm not too keen on that part of it. So I hope that will land better than I do expect to have so many runes. Even just when you're looking at the currency exchange to buy runes, it's gonna be so messy with this many options. I also feel like, since you have to, as far as we know, interact with the Ezomyte Remnant, choose which reward you want, slay the monsters, then interact with the Ezomyte Remnant again to get the reward. I feel like that will get quite tedious when you've done it for a week or two. It's probably completely fine in campaign. It will probably feel good early on in the end game, but I feel like when you have been blasting maps for week on, week out, it will just get tedious. I actually feel like they have to speed up how the mechanic works in some way, but we'll see how that lands as well. So I'm extremely excited about all the different new mechanics they are adding with this league to change builds, but I feel like it could have had better design to not be messy and annoying, but it should be really cool to play around with. What do you think about this league mechanic? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you did like this video, please hit a like on the video and a subscribe to my channel. I hope you will enjoy the 0.5 patch. It looks really, really good.